out video. Thanks.
Okay, slowing. I'll come down once I see the tether to get a delta of 18 or so.
Copy that.
Come down more.
Bridge, this is ROV nav. I wanted to inform you that our vehicles are at the bottom, and I believe the last nav already discussed a bailout plan of south with you. Is that correct? Excellent. And at this time, if I could get you to verify that the center rotation is set up to the A-frame, please. Good copy. Thank you very much, Bridge.
Alright, delta's 18, camera's 45.
Alright. Get the light bars out.
Yep.
I'll dial in my Z-Vice here.
Hopefully once we settle in here, the tether will get out of the way.
Yeah.
Squids just went off bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Three squids. Four squids.
Could zoom in partial. Hold. Come in.
Ooh, very cool.
Watch this is your pilot.
Good morning, pilot.
Good morning. We are pretty much all set up here. Just getting our lights out and ready to start the dive. Come out video.
Excellent. So the plan for today, I'm sure you've heard, we're just going to head up this vertical feature or sloped feature. We'll take it kind of at an easy pace. We're not in a rush because we only have 100 meters of vertical to climb, but we'll climb the slope and we'll let you know what we want to zoom on.
Understood.
But keep an eye out for fishes. That's the priority for today's dive. And we'll let you know if we see anything as well.
Sounds good. I'll keep an eye out in the darkness.
All right, well, good morning everyone on shore. This is the NOAA ship Okeanos Explorer. We're exploring today at a depth of 365 meters off a feature, well, west of Desecheo Island in the Mona Passage. We're calling this feature Pinchincho. Right? It was a feature that was identified on an expedition in this area 3 years ago as a potential dive target, and it was dove on 3 years ago, but in a very different location, a few kilometers away. That dive ultimately was never concluded, so we're back here to try and understand how deep water fishes might use the habitat at the seafloor in this area. My name is Steve Oskovich. I'm a PhD candidate at Temple University in Philadelphia in the Department of Biology, and I'm going to be one of your co-science leads on this expedition. And I'm joined by...
Hi, my name is Stacy Williams. I'm the other science co-lead. I'm from the Institute for Socio-Ecological Research and also Coastal Survey Solutions. Both companies are located in Puerto Rico. I'm a benthic ecologist, and I've been working with, well, looking at the different marine communities around Puerto Rico and throughout the Caribbean.
Copy. You can turn to that if you wanted.
Copy that. I was thinking like a 350 for a move.
So far this dive has been really interesting geologically.
sonar, yeah,
The relief
350.
is
Copy that.
pretty amazing.
Pretty stretched out.
Pretty blocky. A lot
Yeah.
of large carbonate blocks and boulders in this area.
Would you all feel comfortable with a 20-meter move?
Yeah. get me
Potentially could be
closer.
interesting
I like that.
for attached organisms. We're seeing lots of sponges. We were watching on the way down. We had a bit of
Go
a
ahead and
extended
call that in if you're
midwater transit today.
Ready?
We saw a number of snappers,
Bridge is
possibly
already
silk
down.
snappers.
I'd like to make a move if you're ready.
Is that what we're still thinking?
Silk or
Range is
queens,
2
we're,
centimeters,
we're trying to
bearing
maybe get the
350
clips of the videos to get a better ID, but
Speed
there seems to
decimal
be
two
a
if
pretty
possible.
large school of snappers at about 200 meters.
It's a crevice.
Yeah.
Good copy. Thank you very much.
And we were lucky enough to see a couple squid when we reached bottom. We haven't seen too many squid on this expedition.
It's a good sign because squid are potential prey items for deep water fishes in this area.
Well, you should start feeling that move almost immediately.
Yesterday we were seeing a
So,
number of small
very
forage
small,
fishes and small
laid back
forage
today.
invertebrates
Copy.
for deep water fishes in this area. Yesterday we were a bit south and east of where we are now on a submarine bank. This is also another submarine bank, but on a much steeper feature than we were on yesterday. We were looking at more stepwise terrain. Today it's a little bit more rugose, a little bit higher relief.
Possible anemone, bottom right.
These pits are interesting,
Yeah.
kind of like yesterday, but
Snap
much
it.
deeper.
Oh, this is the anemone that we tried to find the mouth in this anemone yesterday and we couldn't.
Watch, would you like me to try to get a closer look at this one too, or not?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Snap soon. Maybe you were lucky today.
I see the mouth there.
Was that a shadow? I'm gonna come in, Roland. Let me know.
Turned 15 degrees to follow you over.
All right. Video, you can frame it up.
Ah, now
Some
you
there
can see,
somewhere.
yeah. I think I see it.
Definitely well protected. These anemones are cnidarian, so they have stinging cells that allow them to capture prey and manipulate prey with tentacles. A few dives ago, we did see one of these digesting a small midwater fish that happened to have a pretty bad
Still
day.
drifting in.
Copy.
But
Alright,
we were trying to get
video,
some better
it's time
footage
for
of
you to
that.
go.
Didn't quite work out, but we did catch the end of that feeding occurrence. Not quite the same species, but a similar looking species. So our bathymetry is showing that we're kind of just on the lower rise of this feature that's about 120 meters in height. We're going to be working our way up. Overall, the terrain is pretty similar to yesterday right now, but the depressions in the rock seem to be a bit more
Can we look at that substructure
pronounced.
there? The sand
And
stuff.
there's quite filled with sediment as well. Sediment and shell material, it looks like. Possibly pteropod
I'll
shells
get some
or
more light on it. I'll come down.
forum shells. Can we snap zoom on the sediment to see
Yeah.
what it's composed of?
It's just coming in lower to get more light on it. You can frame it up.
Yeah, so we're looking at,
I'll tilt down. Better
looks
light.
like
Yeah.
small bits of carbonate gravel sized rock.
Good copy, Bridge. Thank you.
bunch of serpulid worm tubes, maybe some sponge rubble in there. Overall, it looks pretty hard, pretty solid carbonate material. This urchin test.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thanks, pilot.
Yeah.
Looks like some stylaster also.
Could be a good sign for what's up ahead.
All right, I'm back at 350.
So,
Alright.
pilot, I'm guessing this these mound features. This is pretty hard rock we're seeing. Have you had a chance to set down on this at all?
Yeah, I just sat down. I think it's very stiff.
Okay. Yep. So it is very hard rock. Most places here, the sediment seems to be made out of pretty large particles, gravel-sized rock and
Large
larger.
overhang forward to the right.
Copy video. Headed that way.
We have anecdotal evidence from the area that the currents are pretty strong, and we've been making measurements all morning. There's been a current in the area. So it looks like a lot of this substrate is pretty scoured from sediment. Only occurring in the deepest pockets.
It looks like another Sedaris, a sea urchin.
Video coming partial.
Partial.
This one.
This
Okay,
one.
you can come in more now.
This is the smooth spine one.
Yeah, I can. Smooth spines.
Caliosedaris. Yeah. We've been seeing these pretty in the last couple of dies. They're relatively common.
Looks like there's some barnacles or some sort of small. Yeah, I think they're barnacles. You can see some of their feeding appendages on the spines. Very nice. Probably grazing on some sort of tasty sponge, or maybe some hydroids, something on the rock.
Video's clear.
Pilot's clear.
See lasers on.
Lasers are on.
Copilot, can you bring the lasers up to it?
So what's new about
was
this
that?
site
Can
is,
you
are
rotate me
these
up?
blue
I'll
sponges
rotate her. I'll just
that
hold this.
we haven't seen so far. And they seem pretty common. They're relatively small, but
I don't know if I can get them both on.
they're definitely,
More abundant than
Yeah,
the
more
white
abundant.
cotton ball sponges we were seeing yesterday.
There you go. It's pretty close.
It's kind of the
I think there's a
characteristic
frame in there
sponge
that
for
will
that
work.
site.
All right. Keep going.
oh, there's a sea star. At 3 o'clock, pilot.
Yeah. I'll acquire that one.
So yeah, given the tether power fluctuations, if they try to stay in my light pool,
Okay.
I'll keep, there's pretty big seas, so when you get down and off to the right or left, it yanks on the tether below Sirius.
Copy. Video, let's grab it from here. It's kind of down.
Ah, this one.
Tamaria,
Tamaria.
Yep. Pretty common at these depths. We've seen quite a number of them. Coloration is pretty
You rotate me
variable
up
from
tomorrow.
pale to brownish or bronze colored. We saw yesterday.
It looks like there's right to the right of it a test of a echinoderm. Looks like a regular echinoderm.
Yeah,
You see the
not one don't think I've seen in a while.
Video's clear.
All right. Pilot's good.
Alright, you've got your camera back.
Thanks, Carl.
The plot thickens. You'll find that echinoderm.
Looks like you have some little overhangs over you maybe. Could just be the shadow.
Yeah, I think it's just.
Y buenos días y gracias por acompañarnos hoy. Este es el Okeanos Explorer y mi nombre es Stacy Williams y estoy
look
con
after
Steve
it.
Auskovich.
Yeah.
Hoy estamos explorando un pared
find some fish.
este de un área se llama Pichincho. Está oeste de la isla de Desecheo. Estamos empezando el buceo en 365 metros de profundidad y vamos a subir a 250 metros de profundidad. Hoy estamos buscando y caracterizando los hábitats de los peces en aguas profundas como cartucho y otros peces como meros. Y también estamos buscando los especies de corales y esponjas y otros organismos como equinodermos.
Pilots, I believe the last nav walked you through this, but
Alright.
if there is an issue
So
with the
pilot, I
sarcasm
wouldn't-
today,
Go any further now. Coming back.
Copy that, Carl.
Tugging.
Ayer estuvimos en un
Trying to stay a
banco
little closer to the
submarino norte debajo
Sorry,
de
go ahead,
Sico. Está en el
there
oeste
is an issue
de
with sargassum
Mayagüez.
today. I believe the other nav
Y
already
vimos
went
un
over it with you.
cartucho
We're just coming straight
y
up
muchos
as soon as we get the call.
equinodermos
Gotcha.
como crinoides. Hoy el substrato parece como el mismo,
Looks like the current's dying a bit,
con muchas esponjas.
on the surface, I mean.
Really
Yeah.
good lighting on Sirius there. Excellent view from Sirius's camera.
Thank you, video. Keeping the pilot in the light pool today.
Roland, you'll be my fish finder.
Yeah,
today.
this kind of looks like lunar with
Yeah.
all these big divots.
Like a 220.
I wonder how strong the currents get in this location.
Yeah, we were looking at surface currents this morning.
And they
Around-
reached like almost a knot. It was like 0.6
Right.
knots to the
Should we
northeast.
center up and move?
It's slightly been building over the course
Yeah,
of the
sounds
morning.
Another 20 meters at 350.
Face more 340 now.
Copy that.
Right now,
Still happy with 20 meters.
a little bit
It's
lower.
a lower now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the move's
Pilot,
Go ahead.
so quickly.
what's your sense of the current on bottom here?
Bridge,
Not
this is ROV
too
nav.
bad, but there's a little bit
Would like to make another move, please.
from our starboard to
Range
port.
is 20 meters.
So
bearing
from the east to the
340
west.
degrees.
East to the west.
Speed decimal
Stronger
2,
west to
please.
east.
I can do a little drift test here for you, Watchley.
Good copy. Thank you very much.
Also,
It's not
since
much.
we sat down 40 minutes ago, it's cut. The speed on the surface has cut in about half, so we're probably in some sort of fluctuation.
Yeah, it's actually settled out a little bit.
Okay.
I'm off stick and I'm not floating very much, so. Gentle current right now.
That's good.
Yeah, the tether's not blowing very hard at all. So
In the lower left corner, there's a red splotch on the.
yeah,
Can we check that out?
absolutely. Video coming partial.
Oh yeah, that's the rusty red sponge we've been seeing, an encrusting sponge. Haven't quite figured out what this is yet, but we're seeing it at this depth. It's fairly common. Along with some, looks like a stylastrid to the left.
I think there's a
Probably
yellow sponge,
stylaster.
forward inside the hole.
Or some,
They're
Something
extremely
zoom
abundant
out.
at these sites over the past few days.
Oh yeah, there's a
get in.
Yeah.
fish. This kind of looks like the big eye soldier fish.
I'm gonna try to fly it. Yeah. I'm gonna track him down.
Haven't noticed very many cup corals today, but doesn't mean they're not here. Just they're not quite as visible or as abundant as the sponges and stylastrids. Nice little hidey hole.
Mm-hmm. They have enough structure to take refuge.
We didn't see these yesterday, but it seems like they could have lived in that habitat as well. Maybe they live a bit shallower. We're starting our dive today more or less where our dive yesterday ended, in depth. Oh.
All right, we'll let it go. Thanks, Roland.
Yeah, we ended like around 327 meters yesterday, so
A little bit deeper.
a little bit deeper, a little overlap.
The topography is quite different. Yesterday we were kind of edging on the flats and the crest of this stepwise feature, but today it looks a bit more rugose, which is good. A lot of underhangs and overhangs for fishes and other invertebrates to attach to and live under. Another blue sponge. Pilot, at kind of 7 o'clock, there's a blue-purple splotch on a rock.
Copy that.
Snap zoom.
Yeah, the snap it video. I think is what they're talking about.
Yeah, it's this blue sponge. This is different from the blue sponge that we've been seeing that's encrusting.
Getting closer video.
This one looks like it has a bit more dimensionality to it, kind of like stuck bubble gum.
Good copy, Bridge. Thank you.
Little baby stylasters. I was looking at
Yeah,
those the
good.
other day.
Kind of look like the zag, like
Yeah.
that Matterport.
Yeah, yeah. There's a
Small ones.
They're in the deep sea guide off the Florida coast. There's a stylaster that looks exactly like that.
Gonna try to get you a stable shot.
Stylasters,
There you go.
pretty, or stylastrids generally, they have pretty diverse morphologies.
Max zoom.
Copy. Maybe we'll
Generally pretty
get
white
lasers by on the way
or
out.
just slightly off-white in color.
We saw a couple that were yellow off
Those
of
ones are
Mona.
Yep,
All right.
those were different genus, Disticopera,
Thanks, Roland.
possibly.
All right. Looks like I'm directly under you, kind of.
Fish bottom right.
Ooh, yeah.
And another soldier fish, or maybe the same one.
Come in. Two of them. Go for the left one. Come in. I'll swipe lasers on it, and then we'll be done with the lasers. All right. Turn the lasers off.
All right, I'm passing over the top of you.
Copy. Let me know if you need me to move.
Video's clear.
All right. Pilot's clear.
Today we're on our 15th dive of this expedition. We started on the 31st of October with our first dive. We left the port of
Yeah.
San Juan on the
Large
30th.
fish.
There's a fish under that ledge. It's going to
Grouper, I
escape.
think.
So
Up and
we're
around the edge.
Yeah.
in our last, oh, there we go. Yep.
See if we can get an awesome video. of
Here's a misty grouper,
Going for the chase.
wassa, also known. Sorry.
Get
What?
lasers
I-
on.
I was
Cut
reading
you
the
off.
chat, sorry.
Okay.
So this is a misty grouper.
Yeah, this is also known as wassa in
Good.
Okay.
local terms. And we saw a couple of these on the east side of Vieques.
Oh,
Some
yeah.
pretty big ones. We saw, I believe, 3.
Do these large groupers have a known deep maximum distribution or depth?
I think all of these deep water species, there's little known to how deep
I
they
think
can
he's
go.
gonna be the one.
Like we thought, the queen snappers go only to 400 or
We'll let it go
450
shortly,
meters,
yeah.
and we saw the other day off of Calle de Muerto, they go to 539 meters.
Thanks.
So that was a new depth record. So,
I turned 10
yeah,
degrees coming back.
this exploration is great because so little is known of these commercially important fish species.
Back to 340.
Copy that. Sorry, Rowan. I was trying to catch up to him to get him in my light pool, but
Yeah, I suspect we're going to be seeing more of those guys.
okay.
This looks like excellent territory for them.
Oh, so we really still don't have an idea for these sponges. These small, like cup, hard-looking sponges. And
Yeah, they're
the
probably
most dominant
in this depth
sponge.
range,
Yeah.
down to 500 meters in some places.
Something hanging underneath that ledge forward. Maybe an enemy, maybe sponge with plug down.
Copy. I don't know if I'll be able to get all
Now
the way
there's an
there.
abundance of hard substrate here. I'd say there's a pretty good current for attached organisms, but it's mostly sponges at the moment. I'd say this generally looks pretty stable too. It doesn't look like it's there are active failures in the rock anywhere. It's some rubble and debris, but not extensive. This looks
That's
erosional.
really cool. Yeah.
Can we zoom under that ledge?
Yeah. Frame it up.
It's very
yeah.
smooth.
Yeah, it looks erosional or dissolved. Karstic kind of carbonate geology here. This could be associated with the currents that are rapidly moving through this area. There's
Come out a
a
little
different
bit.
sponge there.
Hold that.
Yeah, it looks like could be maybe a glass sponge.
Let's go for sponge.
I wonder if these are the ones that we were seeing
I'll try the
yesterday
fog
that were
lights.
kind of like table-like.
Yeah.
I think this is up, so I don't think
there's a
the
lot
fog
of-
light's
Like
gonna
it.
do anything.
Plasticity in the morphology of some of
Copy.
these sponges wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's pretty far away too.
There is a small shrimp or squat lobster on the top too. Shrimp.
As we pull back out, can we just do a slow rotate left to right of this?
All those
underlying
bristles are
Sure.
part of the sponge body, also known as spicules. Sponges are made up of millions and millions and millions of small little spicules that they use to form a type of structure, or somewhat analogous to
Kind of like
skeleton.
yeah, or
edge?
muscle
Similar
muscle
turn
tissue.
left. This has the making of a highlight.
Cool layer.
Yeah, goes quite far.
Sirius got an awesome view.
I think it's okay, but there's
Video's
starboard
clear.
upper.
Copy.
Near an overhang. I think it's an optical illusion though.
Looks like there's a lot of failure in this area.
on the previous dive, a little bit to the northwest of here, in that depth range, they've also observed chonax, those walking, squatting fishes. Interestingly, they've also reported seeing.
We're starting to get out there. You want to look around here, and we can move.
Let's see. A lot of demo sponges at this
Yeah,
area.
closer.
Sounds good.
Yeah, the
You mind
pictures
back
were
up
really
at
impressive.
350?
Yeah.
A
Pretty good on
Chrysogorgia
the sonar.
octocoral was
20
reported
meter
in this
move.
area.
Yeah,
Polyepion
sounds good.
was. Polylepion.
Unless we want to try to
Keep on
go for
dropping that
Yeah,
L.
L.
Polylepion. Seen extensively at this site. This kind of looks similar to
I
what we
was
were
thinking
seeing.
about it.
What's that?
I said we could do the move unless you're going to go for one of the rocks there.
No, I haven't heard interest for a rock, so we could keep going, I think.
Copy that. I'll call in a 20 meter move at 350.
Video on a snap-on white possible interest. Yeah, okay, we saw.
Bridge, this is ROV nav. Like to make another move, please. Range is 20 meters.
Another couple
bearing
sponges and
350
another Siderid
degrees.
urchin.
Speed decimal 2, please.
Seen quite abundant at this depth range on this type of substrate.
Good copy, Bridge. Thank you.
Pilot's clear. Got an ID.
They have enough food to eat here.
Likely munching down on corals, small corals, stalastrids maybe, as well as other small sponges and invertebrates.
Okay, that's 350.
Pilot, this is watch lead. There's something
Oh.
red in the mid
Actually,
center.
there's a
So
fish.
Oh, a fish also.
Snap-on fish. This has got the camouflage. Lasers are probably clear.
Looks like the flagfish we were seeing yesterday. The
Ah, okay.
Olopus,
Yeah, I was out during that.
I'm gonna get closer video.
the
Come on,
yellowfin flagfish, I think. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yellowfin flagfish.
Flagfish.
Say that 3 times fast.
The yellowfin flagfish.
Crab waving at the bottom of the fish.
So these small little fish are forage fish for, or prey fish for some of these bigger fish like the groupers and snappers.
Alright. Science is all set.
Alright.
Great. Lasers on that. Do we say that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Just to make sure.
Okay, I'm moving.
Lasers back on.
Alright. I'll come up this.
Do we want to look at the red still?
Yeah. We can, we
Yeah, this is,
can snap a video.
so this is, looks like a little bit
Lumpier, right?
lumpier, yeah, different.
Different red sponge.
Now let's have the ship come.
They
to
seem
easy
like they're
stop
like
here.
a mix between
Bridge,
mesophotic
RV
and
now.
deep sea, these
We can come
sponges.
to an easy stop, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, if we do, well, let's see if we can get up to the top of this feature today. We'll see if
jump up now.
there's
Alright,
any
Thanks, video.
evidence of light.
Yeah, maybe we
Getting
could
down to
see
these
some like
depths.
calcareous algae or
Yeah,
Little
it's
steep
totally
section
possible in that
surprised
depth
us, huh?
range. Top
Yeah.
of the feature today,
Good
we're
copy, Bridge. Thank
From
you.
the
kind of
starboard
edging
now.
up on our
Come up with you.
shallow depth limit
Ship is holding
for
station
the
silent.
operation of the vehicles at around 250 meters.
and the water we're pretty far off the coast, so we're in clear water. So you might have a chance to see some photosynthetic organisms on the seafloor.
Black splotch at 9 o'clock.
Copy.
Snap
All
soon.
right. We're good now. I just didn't want you to be down there with me up here.
Snap it video.
Another sponge.
Very dark. Something. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'll call that a sponge. It's a reasonable guess.
I'll let him push out a little bit more, and then another 20-meter move.
I
So it
remember
looks like
seeing on
350
the
is good.
most recent expedition before this, they were seeing what looked like tar sponges, like tar splotches on the seafloor. It's actually a sponge, but nothing I've ever seen before. A little bit bigger than that, a little bit different morphology. Could be related, though.
Take a peek for fish, I guess. Let's see here. Take a peek to the other side here.
We're just crossing about 340 meters now. Made up about 25 meters of vertical distance since we left our location where we sat down.
Did you come in partial? This kind of looks different to me as well.
Oh, there's.
Oh,
Looks like a
that's
stylaster.
yeah, it's a bigger stylastrid for sure.
Is it broken off or is it attached?
Yeah, this
Getting
looks like
closer.
a rubble pile here. So stylastrids are notorious. You can't really tell without having it in hand if it's alive or not. Even when they're discolored, they could still possibly be alive. But it's definitely a stylastrid.
Thanks, video.
Yeah, look at the sediments comprised of stylastrids and
Another one to the
urchin
upper right.
spines. Oh, says- looks like a stylaster in the
Yeah,
center.
2 o'clock
Copy.
in the wall. There's
Yeah.
a
Okay.
branchy white structure.
I'll saddle over to it. You come in partial. Hold that.
Yeah, looks like another piece of that broken
Grab
material.
the rotator, Carl.
Sure.
Stylaster.
Rotate up to it. Thanks. Yeah, it's broken off.
So I've, just as a conservative estimate, I've counted about 3 different species of stylastrids so far. Likely many more, but they're so small. That other branch in the background looked a little bit different, but it was most definitely rubble.
All right.
Most likely not living.
Keep moving.
Very discolored.
Well, maybe these are all signs. There's great to come on the ridge.
It's a bunch of material there. Stylastrid rubble,
Yeah.
sponge rubble.
Wow. I'll get closer to it. We can zoom on it, I guess.
The smoothness of these features is a pretty good indicator that we're looking at erosion from these carbonate seafloor structures. There's a bunch of different types of rubble in here. I'm curious if there is anything different from the stylastrid we've been seeing lately.
Go ahead and partial. Keep the black thing in view. Not sure what that is.
It's going to be tough. They're really fragmented, but at first glance, I'm only seeing stylastrids.
There's some spines
Yep.
from urchins.
Zoom at will.
Not too many, though.
Nothing, I mean, it's difficult, but
Oh.
there may be some
Cup coral.
Cup coral. This one actually might be a scleractinian here,
Oh, okay.
but dead.
Like a bone
We'll have to
yard.
see as we get higher up in the
Like
on
a
the
bone
face
yard.
if there is any evidence that would support that. But
Is this manganese right here?
No,
or
it's
is that
definitely a
some
weird
other
colored
color?
rock, right?
Yeah, it's not what we're used to seeing yesterday and today's dive. Also off of Mona.
Yeah, very odd. Looks like some sort of conglomeration.
Next video.
Can we tilt up before
Yeah.
we leave, just to see the top of this pile? I thought I saw a larger, more substantial piece of rubble. Kind of that big branch up there.
Yep. Go ahead and partial video.
See, this one looks a little bit different than
Yeah,
the stylastrids we've been seeing.
it looks like a scleractinian.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, pilot.
Yeah.
Gives us something to think about and hope for.
By looking at the skeleton, do you have an idea what it could be?
Yeah, I was looking at that, and I'm gonna search through a couple things, but my gut is telling me it could be Madrasis, which is a deep water scleractinian that's known from these depths. There are actually many species of Madrasis, but there's one that's distinctly deep water, deeper than 50 meters, that's found throughout the Caribbean. And it grows kind of in this similar pattern.
Let's see if there's any fish out here video. All right. Turn back to direction of movement here.
So this sea urchin looks like he's munching on a sponge. He's on top of something.
Lunchtime.
Yeah.
Could frame it up if you wanted as a flyby.
Actually, it's only 10:40.
Should we do, I'm facing due north. Should we do maybe 15 this way?
Not just yet. It looks like
Then
it's
the
making its way
Yeah,
over
we
to
can do
that
that.
sponge.
little shorter will be less likely to overshoot. See something.
Pilot-
15
pilot's clear?
000.
It's a slow process.
Yeah.
They don't
Or
move
360, your choice.
that quickly.
The sponge doesn't seem in too much in a hurry, though.
Or 360.
Copy that. Pilot, you all set with that?
Yeah.
Bridge is already now.
Quite a few here.
Yeah, and this one's on its side.
I'd like to call another move if you're ready.
Some more
Looking
stylastrid
for a
rubble down
range
there.
of 1
Until
to
it's much
5
more highly
meters,
branched than
bearing 0,
that other
0,
rubble we were
0
seeing.
degrees. Speed decimal 2, please. Good copy, thank
I
you.
can get a snap for you. Watch it if you'd like.
Stylastrid for sure. A lot of these stylastrids we're looking at, they're, you know, I would say
This video.
some species are well known from the area, not very well known spatially. We only have a few records from a few different locations, but yeah, they are known to occur in this area, and they're known to occur in greater abundance offshore because of the reduced influence of sediment, which is a major factor
Red
controlling their
Arctic undulation.
distribution. They tend to be
All right,
smothered
I'll,
and not be
give
able
it my
to
toes.
tolerate
It's good lighting on this
large
one.
sediment
All
loads.
good.
Excellent.
As the ship is moving here. Gotta wait for the.
Can we snap zoom on this red?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
set up and get it right between my toes, so we'll get a lot of good light on it. Come in partial. Come in more if you want.
Yeah, it looks like the sponge. Looks like part of it is dead. You can see the white tissue. Thank you, pilot.
Yeah.
Somebody's calling at home.
All right. Pilot's clear and video's clear.
All right, I'm starting to move towards you.
Copy that. Go
Should
pilot.
have a little tether in a moment.
All right. Take a peek to starboard for the sake of fish.
Ah, here's some. Looks like maybe
It's a cool overhang.
something branching.
Larger colonies.
I'll look up at it from this low section. Look up way deep underneath.
Copy. See what I can do for you.
Definitely more sponge density on top of this feature. I expect it's probably some sort of current associated, something current associated that might be advantageous to settle and grow on that overhang.
Yeah, they seem all to be facing in one direction.
Come in on these guys at the bottom here. Yeah.
These look like they
Make an X spot to go down.
are
Yeah.
overgrown by hydroids. They don't seem too alive.
No, I would say not.
And there's a gastropod on one of the branches.
Go by. Can you rotate me out?
Yep.
You can turn the lasers off.
Lasers off.
Yeah, hydroids growing over stylastrids, and then yeah, those smaller colonies. It's tough to tell. Even though they have zigzag
See if the
features,
extra
there are
lights will
stylastrids that
penetrate.
have these zigzag features too.
Ready for extra lights?
I'm
Think
looking
I'll
at
be
the upper
bridge,
left
thank you.
side.
I'm ready. Video's ready.
Can we get any? Oh, after you're all set up there, on the upper left, two colonies that are white and more alive.
Yeah.
Can we get a better image of those?
Yep. Video.
Extra lights are not doing any good.
They're not doing any good?
Nope.
You can rotate me up a bump.
Okay,
Carl.
extra lights off. Rotating up.
Two white guys. These little guys.
Just maximum zoom.
Max zoom. Copy. If you need a closer look, watch it. I can reset and get closer to these guys.
Yeah, I mean, could you get a little bit closer?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just so we can
We've got your
rule
camera
out
back for a moment.
something. I mean,
Come over 20
I'm
degrees to
almost
the front.
positive I can see more colonies. If it's a
Yeah.
bad spot, we can saddle over one way or the other.
Looks like that whole shelf is ready to fall.
Just because previous expeditions in this area have reported madrepora, but I just wanted to see if there are
Carl, can you
any
bring starboard lower.
visible characters like tentacles
Maybe
that might be able to
deploy
rule
more,
out
Bring it inboard. Come in?
or
light this
rule
up
one
a
way or
little
the
A little
other
bit more
with
right.
this stony coral.
Oh, there's a more right. Yeah, you're right.
Starboard lower inboard is what you want.
Yeah. Good partial. Go for one of these guys. They have more light on them. Yeah. Alright, yeah. Come out a little bit.
The starboard lower is probably against it stops inboard.
Can we look, so those are a little bit different than the ones I was looking at. Can we look to the left
Yeah.
of the kind of rubbly, covered colonies? Right,
Yeah.
kind of between those clusters, there's two finer branching structures that are white at 12 o'clock.
Max zoom.
They kind of have the form, the zigzag shape,
Yeah,
but they're so small.
so small and difficult to tell. All right, well, thanks for that.
Thought I saw
Try
a
and see if
brighter
we
one
can
off
see
to
any
the
more on a
left,
better position.
larger.
Swing arms are back out.
Thanks, Carl.
And I'm 20 degrees to starboard.
Alright. I'll work my way back to port.
I'll go partial zoom as you pan across.
Sure. Hold.
Oh, this looks like a different species. Not quite as zigzaggy. The branching is more dichotomous. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Can you rotate back right and let me just push into the cave?
Right here?
Yep.
Pretty dark.
Tilt down.
This is the stylastrid I was looking at that had the zigzag pattern iridescence from 200 meters. Very, very difficult to tell apart from
Okay.
madrepore at very small sizes.
Thanks, video. Alright.
All right, well, we'll hope we see some bigger colonies. Might be easier to identify that.
I think that urchin knows he's on the edge of
They
the
don't
cliff.
seem to be rare here. Anywhere we have an overhang, there's an abundance of stylastrids.
Okay, and back to due north.
Wonder if I like put my toe on that, it'll break it off.
Looks like it. Just don't get your tether under there.
Yeah. There's two of these little outcrops.
Okay, we're in a good position now. Facing the right way, Delta 15. Camera 45.
Copy that. Fish. Let's try
Oh,
that.
here's a fish. Oh, that's a queen, it looks like. Oh, no, I think that's that's a silk. That's a silk snapper. Yeah, if it's possible to get the lasers. I know it's kind of far away.
Trying.
Yeah.
Boom. Got a frame. Alright, video, we'll let it go. Probably come up a little bit. I'll come back down to this overhang. See if we see anything on it. It's cool rock formations here.
Can we look at the white sponge in the lower right-hand corner? That one looks a little bit different from what we've seen so far.
Copy. You can frame it up, video. I'll try to do all floating here. Hold that. In a little more.
So, most likely a demo sponge of some type. Living on the edge. It's also a small crustacean on the base. I can't quite make it out. Just to the left of the base of the sponge, and it looks like one of those heterocarpus shrimps. Oh, it's a crab. Found a nice hidey hole in there.
I think you could do a pirouette around this.
Depends on the zoom level. I'm kind of trying to right now, but not too good of a job. A little bit of vert oscillation.
Thanks, pilot. I think we're all set there.
Copy.
Oh.
Alright.
Family Geodia.
Geodia, maybe.
Geodidae.
So our fiber levels have gone up to 12.2.
A lot of different morphologies in that family for things that look pretty round and nondescript.
13.7 and 14.7.
Copy.
So we're still at more than a decibel under that. Alright, should we do another 15 this way?
Yeah. So,
Sounds good. Another 15 meters at 000.
Sounds good.
Folks on shore, we're
Doing good with the tether
just
pipe.
passing now
Great, this is
327 meters.
I'd like to make another
Our plan
move
is to
here.
cap out our dive today at our minimum
Range
depth
will be
limit at
15
250 meters.
Bearing 0, 0,
what's
0
this,
degrees.
red
Settling up.
triangle?
Speed decimal 2.
White triangle?
Oh.
Where about? Huh.
Huh.
Good copy, Bridge. Thank you.
You know what that looks like?
It's like a wannabe coral.
Looks like one of those tan corals got covered by a red sponge.
Yeah. Looks like maybe a cup coral or something got covered. Or
It's too thick to be a cup coral. It's a little irregular. I think it would be. I think it looks more like a sponge might have died and got overgrown by another sponge. I don't recall these red sponges forming structure, but it looks just so perfect there.
That's clear when video's clear.
If it was a coral, I don't think it would be as heavily fouled with those little
Thanks, Ron.
small hydroids and things like that. But there's one to the right as well that forms another three-dimensional structure.
Take a peek for fish here.
Since we haven't seen very many large cup corals on this dive, I haven't seen any obvious, other than the rubble. I haven't seen any obviously live cup corals. They were quite abundant yesterday.
also, what's very different about this dive and yesterday's dive, crinoids.
Yeah, right?
They were very abundant yesterday, and I haven't seen one yet.
Yeah, there's
Something.
more crinoids up on the
Cool,
flats. I'm curious if we'll see more
Curiosity's gotcha.
as we move up.
Yeah, that rock.
Very cool rocks.
Attached fauna is pretty small still, generally here.
Look at the holes in the lower bottom or middle.
Erosion down here.